Hi there, my name's Andy and I work for the Pace Trust, and we work in Poole, Bournemouth and Christchurch doing assemblies, RE lessons and lunchtime clubs. So the royal family, I don't know what you know about the royal family, but here's a few true or false quiz questions about them. Let's see how you get on. Prince Philip, the Queen's husband, has a pet name for the Queen. He calls her Lettuce. Is that true or is that false? Actually, it's false. He calls her Cabbage. Okay, question 2. Wherever Prince Charles goes, he takes his own white leather toilet seat with him, and he also has somebody that works for him that squeezes his own toothpaste onto the brush. Is that true or is that false? Actually, that's true. Question number 3. The royal family aren't allowed to play Monopoly. Is that true or false? Actually, it's true. The Queen banned Monopoly because she says people get too vicious. And lastly, number 4, when the Queen Mother was alive, her drink of choice was a pint of Guinness. Is that true or false? Actually, believe it or not, it's true. I was thinking about the royal family, and when I was a vicar in Bristol, I played a trick on my congregation. I told them, it was a Palm Sunday, I told them that somebody really important was coming, and I got them to all wait by the front door and got it all looking really nice and tidy. And then I got somebody, my friend Sheila, to put on a mask of the Queen and to come in through the back door and cycle down the aisle on one of my daughter's scooters. We don't expect the Queen to come in through the back door on a scooter, yet Jesus came into the city of Jerusalem to start his journey towards the cross, not on a great big impressive white horse like the Roman emperor of the time, or today it would be like a flashy black Rolls Royce. He came in on a donkey. Jesus wasn't a very typical king. In fact, the only crown he wore wasn't made of gold and crusted with diamonds, but was a crown of thorns. Jesus was a very different king, and he told us about a very different kingdom. I was thinking, what does it mean to have a kingdom? A kingdom is a place that's ruled by the king or queen. And Jesus is our king as Christians. And I was thinking, what would a world look like where what the king, what Jesus wanted, actually happened? When Jesus asked us to pray, he said, pray that your kingdom comes on earth as it is in heaven. And I thought, what is heaven like? And what would it look like if God's kingdom came on earth as in heaven? I thought, well, what does God like? What does Jesus like? What does our king like? I thought for a minute, and I thought, well, I know that Jesus likes truth and love and kindness and justice and peace and goodness and all those good things that we see sometimes. And I thought, what are the things he doesn't like? And I thought, he doesn't like hatred, racism, people being mean to each other, people telling lies. And I thought, we have a choice, don't we? Which team do we want to play for? Do you want to live a life seeing God's kingdom come? Or do we want to live a life building a very different kingdom? Which kingdom are we building? And I believe that God is inviting us all to come and join his kingdom. Jesus told us a story saying that everybody is invited. He told a story about a king, but in this case we're going to have the Queen, and she was wanting to throw the biggest and the best ever party. She'd got lots of decorations. It was an amazing spread of food. She got the best bands in. It was going to be absolutely amazing. And she sent out her servant to go and to bring people in. And then the servant's first message got given to them saying, I can't come to your party. I've just bought an oxen. Strange, isn't it? You think, an ox you could test any time? Missing out on the party of a lifetime? But people make silly choices, don't they? And then another reply came and said, I'd love to come to your party, but I've just got married. And then a third one came and said, I'd love to come to your party, but I've bought a field. Bonkers, isn't it? These things where you miss out on something amazing. So the Queen said, I know what I'll do. Go out and invite anyone and everyone who'd like to come to the party. So the Queen's assistant went out and invited everybody in. Anybody who would come. And she looked around and said, there's still room. Go out and invite the busker, the beggar, the big issue seller, anybody that's maybe ignored, overlooked, lonely, having a tough time and life's not been good to. Invite them to come too. I want this party to be absolutely full. And that made me think, what are those people who said no? They missed out on the party of a lifetime. You see, Jesus is inviting all of us in that story to say, are you on God's team? Are you part of the kingdom team? And that made me think of the bigger story that the Christian faith is based on. It's based on a God that created the world, that created us to be in relationship with him and him to be our king, for us to do our lives his way. But the problem is we said, actually God, we want to be our own king and we want to do things our way, and we sort of push God away. And so God sent Jesus, who lived amongst us as one of us, pointing us back to God. And he died on the cross so that all the things that get in the way of our friendship with God can be dealt with and our friendship with God mended. And so now, because of Jesus, we can be part and friends with God and be part of God's kingdom team to see the kingdom of God come on earth as it is in heaven. Jesus, who restored that broken relationship and said, you can be part of building my kingdom here on earth, inviting us to be his friend, inviting us to partner with him to change the world, inviting us to live for him, not just as his servants, but actually the amazing thing is we can be his friend. I couldn't just turn up to Buckingham Palace and say, I want to see the Queen. I need to have an invitation. The cross, in many ways, is God's invitation. He says, because of Jesus, all of us can come and meet with God. All of us can come and be his friends. So a little challenge, we're thinking about the kingdom of God, where everybody is welcome if we want to accept that invitation. What are we living for today? And who are we living for today? Who's our king? Ourselves or Jesus? Should we just close with a prayer? Dear God, thank you that you invite us to be your friend, to build your kingdom here on earth. Help us to make those right choices. Help us to build what is good, what is kind, and what is loving. Help us to be that salt and that light. Thank you don't just call us to build a better world, but you call us to be your friends, friends of the King. Thank you. Amen.